I want to go through some common interview questions that you might get asked and just hear how you'd answer them and try and give you some advice.
Okay.
If that's all right. Now, this one here, tell me about yourself. It looks like a really easy question on paper, but it's quite hard to answer.
Okay.
How would you tell an employer about yourself?
Well, I would just say that I was a very approachable person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always on time. I'm friendly. Every time I take on a task, I always do it to the best of my ability. That's probably as far as I would go.
Mm-hmm. With tell me about yourself, you need to go a little bit more about you, the person, rather than you, what you do, you're approachable.
Like my qualities and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
your qualities. And it could be what you've been doing since you've left school up until now. Because they might ask, right, you're 24 now, what have you been doing for the last few years?
Yeah.
So just give them a brief outline. You don't want to go into your social life and what you do in your spare time, but something that's quite snappy and to the point. What would you say your strengths are?
My strengths are probably my speaking and also my people skills.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very easy to talk to people. And I would say that's pretty much my biggest strength.
And what about your weaknesses? Because that's a lot harder to...
My biggest weakness has to be saying no.
Right.
Because I never, ever, ever say no. I always if someone asks me to do anything, I always say yes and try to do it. You know, even if it will cause me a problem, I always tend to say yes.
That's a really, really good answer. Weaknesses are quite hard to find, but you need to have like a positive edge to them. In admin or sales, you don't want to say, I hate picking up the telephone, or I hate being with people, because that's going to go against what the job is.
Yeah.
But with that weakness, it shows you're quite committed and determined.
Okay.
But it's not going to be negatively against you or the business. So that's a really good answer. What would you say your greatest achievement is to date?
Probably my 200 metres at swimming.
Right. And why that in comparison to anything else that you've done?
I don't know, to be honest. It's just something that stands out. Something that when I actually did it, it was something I thought I would never be able to do. And yes,
that's good. You've explained it, because if you just say 200 metres swimming, the employer might be a bit like, right, what else has he done? But if you say, I didn't think I could do it in the beginning and I worked hard to do it and this is what I did, so you've started off with nothing and you've done something, it's going to look a lot better. So it's just phrasing that.
Right, okay.
How would your friends describe you? This is the one that keeps coming up.
Alright, well my friends would describe me as a very fun person, very caring. I sort of go to the end of the earth to do anything for my friends, so I would say, very considerate. Yeah, good. Right, we've got a few questions about the job here. What particularly interests you about this job? So, this job in particular... About sales? Yeah. Sales would probably interest me because I can use my strengths to actually earn a living. I could use my strength in speaking to people to actually, you know... Yeah, and physically pull them out again. It doesn't matter if you said them, pull them out. Right, okay. Over again. Right. And why an apprenticeship? Why not go to university? Why not go into a full-time job? Because you're going to have to sell yourself and show that you're committed to this apprenticeship for them. I suppose an apprenticeship because I want to actually earn a bit of money whilst I'm learning. I like to buy new clothes all the time, so I would like to have a bit of money to be able to do that as well as work and learn. What's good with this job in particular is the manager said there is going to be some commission and incentive involved. For the first 3 months you're going to be on sort of a trial like any other job would be. So you're going to be on the fixed £95 a week. Okay. If you get through your 3-month trial, it's then going to go up to £125 a week, and there'll be incentives. So there could be breaks away, holidays, money. So you need to be properly motivated. Yeah. Do you get your incentives on top of your £95? You would, yes. You do? You would, yeah. I mean, you could say, I want you to ring 50 people today and I want you to get through to 30 of them, and you're going to have to make a note. And it's only if you do it, they're going to be high targets, I'm not going to lie to you. You are going to have to be committed. Yeah. But if you get them, the world's your oyster, and you can go out and you can get all the clothes that you want and go on the holidays that you want. That'd be great. Okay. They might put in a few situational questions. It depends on the type of interview. The one that you're going to is going to be really similar to this. It's really informal. Obviously, I want you to go dressed smart and suited and booted to show a good impression. But in terms of interview, it's going to be just like this. So you don't need to be worried about anything like that.
So these might not come up, but I prefer you to know a few just in case, so you're ready. So we've got here, this is a common one that comes through. Can you give me an example of when you overcame a difficult situation?
Ooh. An example I can give you of when I've overcome a difficult situation was a few years ago when I was out down the local high street and we were confronted by a couple of local lads who were in a gang. And they came up to us and they were quite aggressive, and the way actually I sort of diffused that situation was I was talking to them, explaining them, you know, that we didn't want any trouble or anything like that. So they didn't listen. I then went round the corner to a couple of doormen that were on a bar, and they actually came round and actually sorted the situation out for me. So that's something that, I know it's a bit odd, but that's something that stands out as a difficult situation that I got out of.
What did you learn from that then?
What did I learn from getting out of that situation? That's quite another tricky question, because I didn't say that I did anything wrong in that situation. It was actually the difficult situation approached me.
Yeah. Is that more how to handle them than?
Yeah, I suppose I did learn to get out of this situation as quick as I could before it sort of snowballed escalated into something worse.
Right. And have you ever asked questions at the end? If the employer says to you, right, have you got any questions for me?
Yeah.
Have you asked questions or have you not asked questions?
I've always been told to ask a question.
Yeah.
But once I get to the end of the interview, I just think,
get me out, I'm done.
Thank God it's over.
Right, okay. I do the same. I'd advise you to have maybe 3 questions in your head before you go, and you could write them down, anything at all. It just shows that you're committed and you want to learn more. If you say, have you got any questions? No. It immediately puts a shutter on the interview, so you're like, oh, right, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable for the employer as well. If you've got a few, I've listed some examples of what you could ask here. Could be who you're going to report to, how big the organisation is, so where you're actually going to slot in and what your role's going to be.
Yeah.
Who are your customers is a good one. Another nice one to end it is what's the next step? What happens from here? How many people have you interviewed? How am I going to know what's going to happen next?
Right.
And then it shows that you are interested in the position. We want you coming out, hopefully, so you've got the choice of whether you get the job or not.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to do research on the company and ask questions about the company. It could just be something...
I'd like you to do research on the company anyway, to have a look on the website, because they could ask you, right, what do you know about us? You don't want to sit there and say, I don't know, I've just sent here. You want to know exactly what they are and what they're going to... Like the company you're going to is a call centre. They've got sort of a decent website. Have a look on the website. We'll do that later. We'll go through it together, so you know who the customers are and you know what everything is. But you can ask one of these questions. There's no reason why they're going to know, as long as you know the basics. Okay? So we've got a few interview tips here. Before you go to the interview, do your research, which is what we've said.
Right, yeah.
Know where you're going and know where the interview is being held, which I'll give you the information for, and the name of the person you're seeing. If you go to reception, you don't want to say, I'm here to see someone about an interview. You want a name, so you're going to remember who you're seeing.
Okay.
And get your interview clothes ready, like I've said before. Smartly dressed. I don't care what your friends say. It's a day and it's over and done with. If you get the job, that's going to be you for the foreseeable future. So just smartly dressed. Do you know what you're going to wear?
Would a shirt and tie be alright, or would a shirt be okay?
I put a shirt and tie on just for this one. They're probably not going to make you wear a tie if you get the position, but just so you make a good impression when you walk through the door. In the interview, we've got a little bit of body language that we're going to go through.
Right.
So walk in the interview with confidence and enthusiasm. You're probably going to be a nervous wreck, but you can't try not to show it. Eye contact's a big thing. If you aren't looking at someone, you could be like this and try to avoid them. A lot of people look down, even when they come and see me. It's not a good impression. You obviously don't want to stare someone out, but just natural. Another thing on the body language side, if I sat like this and looked at you, what does that show to you?
That you're a bit standoffish.
Yeah, and I'm maybe not interested. It could just be nerves. You could just be sat there like that. Same with fidgeting, or with girls, it's hair, or bracelets, or fiddling, anything like that.
Yeah.
It just shows you're nervous and you're probably not realising you're doing it.
Right.
Fiddling, crossing legs, stupid little things like that, just beware of it. I don't want to scare you or anything like that.
I feel like I'm sitting here with my legs crossed.
I know you've been like that. Obviously, at the end of the interview, ask some questions. You might have found that the employer's already answered them.
Yeah.
But try and think on the spot a little bit. Even if it's just one, just ask one, just so it shows your level of interest. And after it's formally over, ask what the next stage is, showing your commitment again. After the interview, give me a call, let me know how it's gone, what your feelings are, if you're still interested. I'll then ring the employer and get his thoughts on it, and we can go from there and hopefully get you started in the position
All right.
that's right for you.